driving behavior. But if we practice good driving etiquette, we can all become gentler beings. Here are 2 things to keep in mind. First up, when you're changing lanes, make sure to use your blinker. And second, although I do love getting text messages from all of you, don't text and drive. That's a no-no. Good driving etiquette equals safety for all. This campaign is brought to you by Morning Wave in Busan on BEFM. Oh, by the way, tune in to Morning Wave in Busan to get real-time traffic updates. You know your morning commute's better with me, Kat.
It's not easy to make proper judgment in a sudden event of an earthquake. That's why it is essential that we practice emergency drills during our daily lives so that we can be prepared for any such circumstances. As soon as you feel the earthquake, hide your body under a table to protect yourself. When the shaking has stopped, shut off the gas valves and turn off the electricity and locate your way of exit by opening the doors. If you're coming out of a multi-story building, use the stairs and definitely not the elevators. When outside the building, rush to an open field and cover your head while en route. Finally, tune into a broadcasting channel and keep yourself updated on what's happening and what to do next. Or remember, prevention is the best solution. This campaign is brought to you by BEFM Busan 영어방송.
지금 방송 광고라는 부메랑을 던져보세요. 소비자를 향해 정확히 날아가는 광고. 힘차게 돌아가는 경제. 부메랑처럼 다시 기업의 이익으로 되돌아오니까요. 방송 광고, 경제에 큰 힘이 됩니다. 부산 방송광고발전협의회.
The time is now 7 o'clock.
In English, we have this term. It's called casting vote. So what does it mean in English? It means a single vote. If the number of votes about something is equal, then that vote, that casting vote, decides the matter. And when you think about it, one vote, a casting vote, can break a tie. It can decide the direction of a company, legislature, or even a country. So the snap presidential election that is coming upon us real quick, June 3rd, the big question is this: how will you cast your vote? I'm Catherine. This is Morning Wave in Busan on Thursday, the 24th of April on BEFM 부산 영어 방송. Good morning, Wavers. Welcome to the program, and to all the early birds joining us nice and early. Yes, we have our new producer. She likes to keep you guessing. I love that. So every morning, yes, you have to kind of tune in real early to see whether you will be number one joining us on our YouTube feed right now. And by the way, this whole idea of casting vote is really important to our region. When we think about Busan and the larger Bulgyeong area, traditionally having been key regions in past presidential elections, often referred to, especially here in Korea, as casting votes or swing regions. In the States, we call them swing states, but here swing regions. 그래서 이게 뭐냐면요. 국내에서 선거에서 승패를 결정하는 지역을 의미하는 거고요. But is that reputation A part of the bygone era is the big question. It seems so, at least based on how much ground respective candidates have been covering in Busan, or let's be more specific, not covering. Candidates have been going across the country, People Power Party or PPP candidates on individual schedules, and Democratic Party or DP candidates as a party for their ongoing primaries. Even for the DP's Yeongnam primaries, well, they didn't make a single stop here in Busan, neither as a party nor on individual levels during the past week. PPP candidates did visit Busan, including Kim Moon-soo and Han Dong-hun, but local pundits point out that in Kim's case, it was a rather short trip as he spent a few hours in the city, meeting with the Busan city mayor, making one stop at a traditional night market. How much time a candidate spends in a city or region, it really matters, doesn't it? I think it does. Not just because it's a reflection of how important that city is in the race, but physically being in the city can increase their understanding of that area's issues and show them firsthand why these issues or those issues are really important. So other pundits connect this lack of ground coverage with the weakened influence of local politicians, in particular lawmakers, who should serve as channels to convey the voices of Busan and its neighbors to the ears of the central government and basically 뇌'에도. So the presidential race, it's heating up. It's coming up, and you might think June 3rd, that's far away. Not really when you think about it. We're racing towards the end of April, and we definitely hope to see more candidates come to our city. We are indeed a very important city, and we want our issues reflected at the highest level. It's now time for your opinion because we're going to give you our text topic. What kind of presidential pledges would you like to see? 자, 내가 바라는 대선 공약은? So think about that. What is important to you? Not just, as a city, but maybe to you individually as well. What matters? Send your responses in, your opinion to BEFM or Busan 영어 방송's live stream live chat on YouTube. Also, pound 9050, shop 9050 on your phone. That's going to cost you 100 won. You can reach me for free through our Kakao Talk account as well. You can search for BEFM 부산 영어 방송 to add us as a friend first. Send in your message and you can send in photos that way too. The ways you can listen to our program, 90.5, 103.3 FM. On the radio, if you're in Busan, like I said, we are streaming live right now. You can watch again anytime at your leisure after the broadcast. And two apps, the BEFM app and the Popbang app, you can check out our segments there too. It is Thursday morning. We're still in kind of the new spring season, kind of, that idea. We have in our daily lineup today, Ask Dr. Ryu with who else, right? Dr. Ryu. We also have Buzz Breakdown with Vasana. He's coming up in hour number 2. For our special interview today, you may have seen more and more articles or seen stories on TV regarding humanoid robots. And no, it's not a thing of movies anymore. Real humanoid robots, they're cost-effective. Are they taking human jobs? And what does it mean for our daily lives? We're going to tackle all these questions with an expert coming up in hour number 2. And I'll be back with news overview. It's now 7:06. This is News Overview. Han Duck-soo to deliver budget speech today. Acting President Han Duck-soo will deliver a budget speech today at the National Assembly where he's expected to ask lawmakers for bipartisan cooperation to pass an extra budget bill. Foreign Minister says South Korea won't rush trade talks with U.S. Foreign Minister Cho Tae-yeol said yesterday that South Korea has no intention to hastily wrap up trade consultations with the United States, adding that any talks on renegotiating defense sharing costs should be done via separate channels. South Korea and China hold talks amid tensions over Yellow Sea structures. South Korea and China held a working-level maritime dialogue in Seoul yesterday, diplomatic sources said, as tensions are building up over a set of steel structures Beijing has installed in the overlapping waters in the Yellow Sea. Culture Minister to lead condolence delegation to the Vatican. Culture Minister Yoo In-chun will lead the South Korean government's delegation to the Holy See later this week to attend the funeral of late Pope Francis. Trump blames Zelensky for refusing to accept peace deal. U.S. President Donald Trump has accused Ukrainian President Volodymyr Zelensky of harming peace negotiations after the Ukrainian president said Kyiv would not recognize Russian control of Crimea. And this was News Overview. It's now time for Now in Busan. We have Sejin in the studio. Let's say hi first. Good morning.
Good morning. Hello. How are you?
Yes, I'm doing great. Did you hear our text topic today? We're talking about what you want in form of a presidential pledge. And of course, not talking about any political party, but just what would you like for the new president to tackle?
For economic issues?
Yes.
Because now our economic is now like the interest rate has been plummeted. And I think the first issue would be to tackle down these interest rate issues and high interest rate, things like this.
I see. Well, the economy, of course, is on the minds of many people. So we'll see if the president, after the election, whoever he or she may be, will tackle the economy. We're going to jump into our local news. So first, it does seem that our city seems to be making some moves when it comes to its greenery spaces. So what's the latest on this front?
So the city has been selected for the National Design Support Project, and the focus is redesigning underused public spaces in the city center. So now these spaces called open public site are technically open to anyone and everyone, but in reality, they're often empty, like paved corners, forgotten plots, and places we pass by without much thought. But Busan wants to change that now.
Okay.
So they've secured about 150 million won in national funding. And over the next 2 years, they'll be investing double that amount, 300 million won in total, into a project that might just breathe new life into these overlooked areas.
Yes. So what's the idea behind this?
The idea is to reconnect them, link them into the walkable routes, and tie them to alleys and side streets and reshape them into green spaces, community rest areas, and places where people might actually want to stop and stay a while.
Yes.
And El Helm is the city's chief architect who described this as a step toward 15-minute city, where everything we need, park, shops, and cafe, is just short walk away.
Yes, indeed. So this whole 15-minute city that it can really be for everybody. Next up, let's talk about some news that might be good for foreigners. What's this one about?
The city of Busan and its tourism organization said that they're going to release 49 new travel products designed just for foreigners. So they want them to make travel around Busan and surrounding areas easier and more efficiently.
Yes, so let's get the details. What are we talking about?
So we got 3 options.
Okay.
First one, there are 10 one-day tour options. So this is nice for solo travelers. And all they need to do is to just hop on a van and off to explore cities. No planning, no stress, and no transportation fuss. And just in a day, you can explore a journey like from Busan to Pohang and on to Ulsan.
Yes.
Or Busan to Miryang to Ulju, or from Busan to Gyeongju.
Oh, I like the options.
Yeah, and then there's another one for this is more personal, tailored themed tours, where your itinerary follows your interest. So some tours offer a closer look at what local life and traditions are like, such as hiking experiences that have makgeolli testing and temple tour from Busan to Gyeongju.
Yes.
And last one, for those who want to go all in, there are extended regional packages. This is 4 nights and 5 days that take you through Busan, Ulsan, Gimhae, Jinhae, and even all the way up to Gangneung.
So I like the fact that there are so many options. So if this piques your interest, if this interests you, you should definitely check it out.
Indeed.
Yes. Now let's talk about an area that is quite popular here in Busan.
In Busan, you know, Songjang Beach is a favorite spot for surfers and swimmers and families alike.
Absolutely. I mean, definitely a place where I have visited many a times. I'm sure some of our listeners have as well, right?
Yeah. But in recent years, it hasn't been that easy as to, like, shoreline has been steadily declining and disappearing, and wave after wave and storm after storm, and erosion has taken its toll.
Yes.
And in fact, over the past decade, the width of the beach has shrunk by more than 10 meters. Now Busan's coastal authorities are stepping in. They launched a long-term restoration project backed by nearly 30 billion won in funding. And yeah.
Oh, no, go ahead. So tell us more about the plan. So what are they going to do?
Yeah, the plan is to install rock barriers and add more cubic meters of the sand to protect and rebuild the beach. And the actual plan and construction is just set to begin next year.
Yes.
With completion targeted for 2029. Officials are hoping it can recover from erosion and become safer, more welcoming seaside destination.
Right. I remember when they did that for Haeundae Beach, and I saw them like trucking in like tons of sand.
They did.
So yes, definitely. I think that's what they're doing for Songjang Beach, and it's for all of us. So let's be patient. What's next on the agenda today?
In Bukgu, Busan, 2 landmarks on 금빛노을브릿지 and 감동나루길 River Walk have recently reached a major milestone.
Okay.
Together, we've welcomed over 2 million visitors. The 금빛노을브릿지 is actually the longest pedestrian bridge in Busan. It was completed in June 2022, and then automated counters were installed in October 2023.
Right.
And ever since then, they have been measuring the number of the visitors. And it's seen now astonishing 1.77 million visitors by this month. And right beside it, the 감동나루길, which is pedestrian bridge.
Yes.
That connects Gukpo Station on Metro Line 3 with the Hwamyeong Ecological Park, Hwamyeong 생태공원. Though it only opened late last year, it's already welcomed 250,000 people.
Wow. So what are they known for, though?
In the daytime, the bridges are famous for a very lovely spot to get the sunset over Nakdong River.
Sure.
And at night, they are lit with magical lights with like calm, relaxed atmosphere. They're giving like this kind of vibe. And
So,
the Bukgu,
yes.
sorry. And the Bukgu Otaewon mayor said, shared his hope for the future, saying that he plans to develop those areas into connected tourism zone where nature, people, and culture come together and in a more meaningful, lively way.
Indeed. So I love that we're focusing on these local bridges here in our city. So thank you so much. And of course, we'll check in with you tomorrow. Thank you.
Thank you for always.
And I'll be back in a moment.
Good morning.
Good morning.
굿모닝입니다.
Good morning.
좋은 아침입니다.
Morning wave in Busan.
Morning wave in Busan.
Morning wave in Busan. Major news, local buzz, and expert takes. It's all here on Morning Wave in Busan. Brighten up your morning commute with Morning Wave in Busan. Morning Wave in Busan.
It's now time for your traffic report. There is some backup on the Dongso overpass from Hwangyang ramp to the old Gaegeum tollgate. Also heavy traffic on Luno Samsungdaedo from Myeongji underpass to Shinho Bridge. It's congested on Mandokdaedo from Minam to Mandok intersection. And it's also looking slow on Gwanmundaedo from Pangnam Tunnel to Baegang Tunnel. Currently, it is 12 degrees Celsius under partially cloudy skies. The daytime high is expected to go up to 22 today. Across the nation, clear skies, daytime highs to go up to, in some areas, 26 degrees Celsius. But as you can see, there is a big difference between now and the daytime high. Heavy winds with gusts of up to 15 meters per second in some areas. So please be careful as things, of course, can get blown away. This was your traffic and weather. It is now time for top stories. We have Haley in the studio. Good morning.
Good morning.
Yay. So, today's text topic, your opinion on what you would like to see done when we have a new president.
I'm going to be extremely selfish.
Yes.
And I know presidents don't really have that big of a power, shouldn't, over the economy.
Okay.
But can we really seriously do something about the currency rate? 한율, i.e. the euro? Because, oh man,
Yeah.
1624.
Oh.
Won to a euro to 1 euro.
Really?
Remember the days when it used to be 14?
Now
Yeah,
it's
yeah.
1624 won.
And I, of course, I have an ulterior motive. But yeah, apart from that, education, schools, teachers' rights, I don't know. Education is always just really important.
Yes.
Although it's been years since I've been out of school.
But still
Yeah,
important.
but still, yes.
Yes. Thanks for sharing. All right, so the top issue we're watching in South Korea is the impending tariff negotiations meeting. So we need details on this.
Right. So we're going to go to Washington, D.C. for this first story because Finance Minister Choi Sang-mok is currently in the U.S. with Commerce Minister An Deok-keun, and they will meet with their counterparts later tonight, Korea time. So Choi will also attend the meeting of the finance ministers for the G20, the group of 20 nations, and sit down with U.S. Treasury Secretary Scott Bessent and U.S. Trade Representative Jamieson Greer. And these will be trade talks for the tariffs, the reciprocal tariffs announced earlier this month.
Right.
As far as we are aware, Commerce Secretary Howard Lutnick, who actually heads or oversees all trade issues in the U.S., he is not going to be in the meeting. The United States earlier imposed a 25% tariff on all goods coming in from South Korea to the States. That has been suspended for 90 days,
Right.
but talks are ongoing. So Che said that he will listen to the U.S.'s concerns and explain South Korea's position. So the gist of the meeting will be help each other and widen understanding over the matter.
Sure.
So basically, as the foreign minister Cho Tae-yeol told the parliament yesterday, they're not looking to really make any negotiations, or they will negotiate, but they will not make any conclusions, especially as the government is kind of in a lame duck season right now.
Exactly.
So going back to the finance minister, Choi Sang-mok said the two sides are still working on the agenda. And because the meeting is dubbed trade negotiations, it'll cover a wide range of issues, not just tariffs. But reports have specifically pointed to non-tariff but other trade restrictions. For example, the ban on U.S. cows or beef from U.S. cows older than 30 months.
Right.
And also the precision map data. We covered how Google Maps has problem operating in South Korea because of that. Another major issue which the South Korean government will try its best to keep off the table, but defense sharing costs involving the U.S. forces stationed in Korea.
Right. And linked to all of this, outlooks for the domestic economy seem gloomy right now.
Right. So not to throw cold water before negotiations even begin, but the IMF, the International Monetary Fund, they slashed growth outlook for the South Korean economy by half, from 2.0 to 1.0% yesterday. here's the thing. Experts say even if the trade talks do go well and the 25% tariffs be lifted, South Korea's economy won't likely recover fully because apart from the reciprocal tariffs, we still have the larger U.S.-China trade war ongoing.
Yes.
So experts say in a scenario of successful negotiations, say the tariffs are reduced to 10% or even 15%, the actual reduction, the impact would only go down by 6.7%, so only about by half. Why cars? The auto industry and car parts, they are still under a separate 25% tariff, and cars account for a third of the South Korean exports to the United States. And in the current tariff situation with the U.S. and China, 125, 145%, that would actually drop South Korea's growth rate by 0.5%.
Which is huge.
Which is huge. And by the way, we have breaking news right now. U.S. President Donald Trump said he will decide on China's tariff rate in about 2 to 3 weeks. So there could be an adjustment coming, but whether that's going to go up further or actually down, we of course don't know. So with the growth down, the Bank of Korea actually would be forced to keep interest rates low as well.
Yes.
And the BOK is expected to lower its growth forecast sometime in the near future.
Yes. So that's where we are on the tariffs and the negotiations thus far. And so speaking of the U.S., we're going to go there for our next stories. After 3 months of sweeping changes, a government efficiency leader or advisor, Elon Musk, says he's going to be stepping back from his role. Not stepping down.
Exactly.
Stepping
Keep in mind, stepping down would be resigning, but no, he's stepping back. So he's cutting back the hours put in Washington, D.C.
Yes.
So he said he will do so as the head of DOGE, the Department of Government Efficiency, which, by the way, the whole aim is to streamline government processes by cutting federal spending and what some people have been calling slashing the government workforce. So Musk says that getting the government house in order, that work is mostly done.
Right. And this actually came at a cost to one of his companies.
Right. So Tesla, Musk's political involvement, it did spark protests and even some boycotts of Tesla products. Tesla cars and sales have slumped. So on Tuesday local time, Tesla reported a 20% drop in their revenue in the first quarter of this year. That's compared to the same period this year. And profits actually fell by more than 70%. So that is a huge drop. And the company has also warned its investors that the pain could continue, declining to offer a growth forecast because they're saying changing political sentiments and also tariffs could meaningfully hurt demand.
Yes.
Musk also himself acknowledged that his work with DOGE has taken his focus off the company. Because I mean, he, although the richest man in the world, only has 24 hours, just like all of us. So starting in May, Musk says he'll only spend 1 or 2 days per week on government matters, as long as the president would like him to do so, and as long as it's helpful. Also, going back to tariffs, Trump tariffs. Those have not been good for Tesla either, because Tesla, as far as most EVs are concerned, it is like the most produced in the United States, but a lot of the car parts are made in China. So Musk said that he thinks Tesla is the car company that's least affected by the tariffs, but he also added and acknowledged that tariffs are still tough on a company where margins are low.
Yes, indeed. So that's our first story. And now, a well-known executive producer of an American show, 60 Minutes, is stepping down over concerns about journalistic independence.
Right. So we're going to stay with the Trump administration for this one more story. So a bit of background. 60 Minutes is a very big, long establishment show in the United States.
Yeah, it's kind of like one of the shows of news-focused stories,
and
right?
It runs interviews. It runs interviews with people of significance ranging from politics to culture. So let's go back last year during the U.S. presidential elections. 60 Minutes had an interview with former Vice President, then Democratic candidate Kamala Harris. It was in October of 2024, a month before the elections. They didn't with Trump. We don't know if it was offered to both candidates and they refused or what happened. But what we know is Donald Trump sued the network, CBS, saying that the programming was partisan and also violated the Election Acts and voter interference because he claims that the interview misled the public.
Okay.
The case has just entered mediation, so that's where they are. However, then last week, so now fast forward to now, the Trump administration said that the network aired 2 inaccurate stories about President Trump, and Trump then directed the Federal Communications Commissions, that's similar to the Korea 방통위,
Yes.
to take required action. So there is pressure being put on the network. So now coming back to the show 60 Minutes, Bill Owens, who's been the executive producer of the show for 24 years, resigned, and he was very clear about the reason why. So Owen says that he no longer has control over the show and has lost the freedom to run it independently. And of
Okay.
course, in journalism, independence is everything. So he said he's defended the show and what they stand for from every angle over time with everything he could, but he's stepping down so the show can move forward and saying that the show is too important to the country, so it's not just about him.
I see. So there you have it, 2 stories connected to the U.S. And now for our final story, we're going to bring it back to South Korea for a new anti-drunk driving law. We need to know about this.
Right. So there's been a problem of the authorities. So say, for example, there's been an accident and the driver seems drunk because he or she did drink. When by the time the authorities get there, the driver has fled the scene. So it would be a hit and run. But by the time they catch up with the driver, they have, let's say, chugged a bottle of soju. So the breathalyzer test is kind of tricky because
Yes.
if, let's say, they blew a 0.72 on the breathalyzer test, how do we know whether that's from before the accident or from that
after.
bottle of soju they chugged right in front of the police?
Right.
This is called 술타기, which is like literally mixing alcohol. It's just this kind of like watering down, but maybe like alcoholing up would be the more
The opposite.
The opposite,
And not in a
exactly.
good
You're not
way.
watering down your blood alcohol concentration. You're actually boozing it up.
Okay.
Right. So that is a problem legally, and that is, by the way, the method that a lot of people, but namely singer Kim Ho-jung, used after his hit-and-run incident. So because that was such a public case, there has been
Right.
a lot of public uproar. We covered that extensively, and this is also kind of called the Kim Ho-jung Prevention Act, dubbed that way by some in the lawmaking
Yes.
sphere. But here's the thing. After June 4th, under the revised Road and Traffic Act, that will be punishable by law. Very specifically. So if you use this so-called boozing up method to impede with the police's breathalyzer test or any blood alcohol concentration test,
Yes.
you may be sentenced to a minimum of 1 year in prison, up to 5 years, or a minimum fine of 5 million won up to 20 million won. By the way, it is important to note whenever there are sentencing minimums, 최저, that means that they're really taking the situation seriously. So there
Yes.
isn't going to be, you can't get any less than that. Also, the police said they will seize vehicles, so take cars away from people who are habitual drunk drivers. So what constitutes you as being a habitual drunk driver? If you've been caught with a DUI, driving under the influence, drunk
Yes.
driving, 4 or more times within a 5-year period, so almost every year, and that's just caught. We always say this. Multiple
so
offenders.
lenient. 4 or 5
That means they've been
times.
caught. Who knows how many times they've done it without getting caught or have caused fatal accidents. But I guess baby steps. Last year, Seoul Police alone says it seized 41 such vehicles. So hopefully they'll take that tool away from these drivers. We always have a lot to say about drunk driving.
We have a lot of room for growth. Let's
We
just
do.
put it that way.
We do. But, also please don't. And please
don't.
enforce these laws very heavily.
Yes, we implore you, please. All right, well, thank you for all the news for hour number 1. We'll check in with you in hour number 2. Thank you, Haley.
See you in a bit.
And with that, it's time for our first song break. This is 정말로 사랑한다면 by Busker Busker.
사랑한단 말로는 사랑할 순 없군요. 그대 상처 주네요. 나의 뻔한 그 말이 너무 쉽게 뱉은 말 너무 쉬운 사랑은 다 거짓말이죠. 그래 다 거짓말이죠. 무엇을 원하는지 얼마나 힘든 건지 신경 쓰지 않죠. 또 쉽게 넘어갔나요? 많이 힘들었나요? 그대가 오늘은 헤어지자 말해요. 정말로 사랑한담 기다려주세요. 사랑한단 그 말들도 당신의 행동 하나 진심만을 원하죠. 정말로 사랑한담 기다려주세요. 그댈 위해 참아줘요. 당신의 행동 하나 아픈 추억 돼가요. 정말로 사랑한다면 정말로 사랑한다면 사랑한단 말로는 사랑할 순 없군요. 그대 기억하나요? 나의 뻔한 그 말이 그댈 웃게 했던 밤 너무 깊은 그 밤은 다 지나가네요. 모두 다 지나갔군요. 무엇을 말했는지 얼마나 원했는지 기억하지 않죠. 그대만 지쳐가나요? 많이 힘들었나요? 그대가 오늘은 헤어지자 말해요. 정말로 사랑한담 기다려주세요. 사랑한단 그 말들도 당신의 행동 하나 진심만을 원하죠. 정말로 사랑한담 기다려주세요. 그댈 위해 참아줘요. 당신의 행동 하나 아픈 추억 돼가요. 그땐 또 하필 참으려 건네는 이 뻔한 한마디 쉽게 뱉은 말 사랑한단 말로는 사랑할 순 없군요. 사랑할 순 없군요. 사랑한다 기다려주세요. 사랑한단 그 말들도 당신의 행동 하나 진심만을 원하죠. 정말로 사랑한담 기다려주세요. 그댈 위해 참아줘요. 당신의 행동 하나 아픈 추억 돼가요. 정말로 사랑한다면
Welcome back, everybody. So if you're just joining us right now, we're in the first week of our brand new spring season, and I see so many new names on our YouTube board. So good morning to some of you out there, and of course to all the loyal listeners who tune in every day. And I know many of you don't even text in because you're either commuting or you're shy, whatever it is. And I just want to reiterate, whether you send your message in English or Korean, everyone, you're all welcome. Those are the only two languages I can understand. So maybe a little bit of Spanish, but not too difficult, please. So today we're talking about presidential pledges. What would you like to hear, or what would you like to see fulfilled, I think is also important too. So for some of you, you said this. For example, Benny says, for me, we need to accept people every day with different relationships in the community. So you want to be more inclusive. So thank you for your message there. And I also want to give a shout out to this person, Bluebird TV. They're listening from Pyeongtaek, And they say, I usually listen. That's my routine. Apparently, Bluebird TV 님이 says, my age is 67. He calls himself an old guy. I don't, not me. 요즘 67 is young. And he says, though I'm an English beginner, I just started 6 months ago. And learning English is a challenge. Well, guess what? Welcome to the program. You are in the right place. Our other waivers will also guide you along. So welcome to everybody out there today. All right, I'll be back in just a moment with You Know Who. It's time for a brand new segment here on Morning Wave in Busan. Guess who we have in the studio? Well, I'm going to let him do his own self-introduction. So, hello, welcome to the program.
Hello, I'm Dr. Ryu. Okay, my name is Dr Ryu. Actually, you can call me Sang or Dr. Ryu. I'm a doctor. I'm a neurologist. I've been practicing for the past maybe 25 years.
Yes.
In Busan.
Welcome. We're so happy to have you.
Yeah, thank you.
Are you nervous? Are you okay?
Yeah, I'm okay. It reminds me of the first time I was on an operating theater doing kind of a stitching up on my patient. I was really shaky. So
it's kind of like that. You have butterflies a little bit?
Just a little.
Just a little?
Yes.
Okay. Well, you know what? I'm so glad to have you on our show for this season. So the title of our segment today, it is Ask Dr. Ryu. That's the title, right?
Yeah, that's right. You need to be careful when it comes to pronouncing this Ask Doctor. Don't say too much.
Ask Dr. Ryu.
Yes.
Got it.
Ask. Okay.
우리 피디님이 우리 개그 안 하기로 했는데.
Oh, really? Okay.
I'm just kidding. No. I'm trying to make you feel at home.
Thank you.
And already we have messages. Benny says, yay! Welcome to Morning Wave, Dr. Ryu. So people, Leslie as well, excited to have you. People are already welcoming you.
Thank you. Mucho gusto.
Oh. How do you say me too? And oh my God, I forget, but the Spanish went out of my head. In my head. Gracias, de nada is the extent.
Yes, right.
All right. So for today, what are we going to be focusing on for our first segment together?
Okay, today I'm going to talk about microplastics and its health effects on our body. 미세 plastic. Actually, you know what's the microplastic is?
Yes.
Okay, it's smaller than a grain of rice.
Yes.
Less than 5 millimeters. They come from everywhere items like breaking down like plastic bags and bottled water and food packaging.
Yes.
And even synthetic clothes like polyester. So it was first identified about 20 years ago. And these particles are now everywhere in our air, water, food, and even in our bodies.
That's true. I mean, we see a lot of stories regarding microplastics, but, you know, we also want to know, like you said, the impact on our health, but especially our brain health.
That's right, because I'm a neurologist. So
exactly.
That's why brain. Our brain is really important. Last year in 2024, a study found a huge amount of microplastics in our brain. Our brain is thought to be protected by blood-brain barrier.
Okay.
You ever heard of it before?
I'll pretend. No.
Okay.
Yes. Give us the lowdown. 쉽게 얘기해 주세요. Because, you know, we're not doctors.
Okay.
We want it easy.
Okay. Brain is so special.
Yes.
That's why it's protected by some kind of filter system. So this is called blood-brain barrier.
Okay.
But these microplastics can sneak through this blood-brain barrier.
So they can penetrate that barrier?
That's right, they can penetrate.
Okay.
So the study revealed that about 50% of increase in the brain microplastics in people who died recently compared to just 8 years prior. Which is a massive jump.
Yes.
It's raising serious questions about what this means for our health.
Absolutely. 8 years is not like a big span of time.
No.
So if we're talking about that big of an increase, if you look at the brain 8 years prior to now, that is kind of scary.
That's very scary. So they sneak into our three main ways. First, we eat. We drink them in bottled water and seafood, and also food wrapped in plastic. Wait for it. Even tea from plastic-lined tea bag.
Right.
And second, we breathe them. We breathe them in. These tiny particle fibers float in the air, especially indoors, from like a carpet and synthetic clothes. And third, though it's less common, but they can enter through our skin via cosmetic like facial scrubs with microbeads.
Yes.
Once inside, microplastics can travel through our bloodstream to organs like lungs, liver, guts, and also even reproductive system. And shockingly, our brain just a minute ago I said, it's a wake-up call about how invasive these particles are.
And when you mentioned some of the stuff, Dr. Ryu, bottled water, which I see all the time, people are drinking from bottled water. Seafood. We are in the city of Busan. How can we avoid the seafood, right? And food packaging, and like you just said, like the tea bags, right? I mean, unless you're, putting your tea into kind of your personal, strainer, and you're dipping it, not using the tea bags. Those tea bags, right? The the one-time use tea bags, they also have microplastics.
That's right. One study done in 2000, last year.
Yes.
They found about 14 billion microplastics in a tea bag. So that's pretty surprising.
Yes, indeed. Well, it does sound like this could be a huge burden on our bodies because we're talking about, you said, what? The lungs, liver, intestines, reproductive organs, and also our brain. What are the health effects linked to this kind of exposure to microplastics?
Because I'm a neurologist,
yes.
So that's why my first priority is brain.
Yes.
And animal studies done in last year, these plastic particles might mess with how we think, how we remember things, and how we regulate our emotions. They can trigger something called microneural inflammation. It's a kind of fancy way of saying brain inflammation. That's a pretty big deal because it's linked to very serious conditions like Alzheimer's disease, some other neurodegenerative disorders.
Yes.
And second, it hits our heart. Some researchers saying that microplastics floating in our bloodstream can contribute to clogged arteries and inflammation in our blood vessels. It raises the risk of heart problems as well. And the third one is gut. It takes a hit too. Microplastics can throw off the balance of our gut microbiome. That's the community of bacteria that helps with digestion and immunity and even our mood. And you know what? There's a fascinating connection between gut and brain, which is called gut-brain axis.
Gut-brain axis?
That's right.
Oh, okay.
You know what gut-brain axis is?
What is this?
When our gut suffers and our brain can start to suffer also.
So when we say gut, some of our listeners might be wondering, 겉이 뭐예요?
Okay.
Like
창자.
창자. Okay. Like your intestines. Yes.
That's right.
Okay.
If let's say that if you have a chronic constipation, there might be a prodromal, or there might be a herald, a sign of neurodegenerative disorders. It's maybe the early sign of Alzheimer's or early signs of Parkinson's disease.
Because normally when we think about like constipation, 변비, like we don't like think like, oh, it's somehow connected to our brain or any type of degenerative disease. We think like, oh, do I need more fiber? Am I drinking enough water? Like those kind of things, like, non-doctors we think about, right?
That's right. And speaking of Parkinson's disease, scientists perform a biopsy in patients who suffer from chronic constipation.
Yes.
Doctors sampled some biopsy in the guts, intestines cells, and they say they showed some kind of a pathological symptoms, pathological significant mark when it comes to Parkinson's disease, which means Parkinson's disease can start from our gut health.
Wow.
That's
I
fascinating.
mean, it is because us lay people with very shallow knowledge of anything related to Parkinson's, I would have never thought that it's connected to gut health.
Yeah.
Yes.
It's not only Parkinson's, but other neuroinflammatory diseases.
Yes.
And the fourth one is fertility.
Fertility. And this is important because, you know, in Korea, we're always talking about fertility and the birth rate. Like, we got to up it, right?
That's right. Early studies hinted that microplastics might mess with our reproductive systems. And even it can affect the quality of eggs and sperm, which can make it harder to start a family.
Right, because you need to have like a healthy egg and sperm
That's
to, you know, have a child.
Yeah, several years back, I read an article that was done on the motility and the number of sperms count. And those sperms and the motility of sperms that was sampled from 80s and 70s are stronger than those taken from 20s and 30s.
Really?
Yeah.
Oh, that's not good. 20, 30세보다 better quality sperm?
Yeah,
in
better
older
quality,
people?
not only the quality, but also quantity.
Quantity and quality.
Yeah.
Not good.
Not good.
Not good for fertility health for the country. And of course, individuals as well.
That's right.
Yes.
And the last one is cancer. Is data still early, but these concerning phenomenon is when you are exposed to this kind of chemicals in plastics, like bisphenol A, it increases the risk of certain cancers.
Yes,
The
yes.
bottom line is the tiny particles are acting like an uninvited guest in our blood, in our body. It is linked to very serious health issues. So we're now scientists are not only scratching the surface, but we are sure that it plays a really huge role in our body.
Indeed. Now that we have a better idea, and you've scared us a little bit about microplastics, what can we do to reduce our exposure? Because, you know, we kind of, if there is, we would love a solution.
Yeah, we would love solution, but there is no cure at all kind of a situation. Even though we cannot avoid them completely, but the small changes can make a huge difference.
Such as?
Such as drink water smartly. Skip bottled water.
Okay.
And then use tap water. Study done in 2019, they show that tap water has up to, wait for it, 90% of fewer microplastics.
Tap water, 수돗물?
Yeah. And also, if you are to drink bottled water, why don't you filter it through a coffee filter?
Really?
Yeah, that removes about almost 90% of microplastics.
That's so like going against like, you know, just convention. Like we think like 병물이 굉장히 깨끗하고.
No, actually.
Today, Tumblr, I've been trying to use less plastic because of issues like this, and of course because of the environment. But now even more of a reason to stay away, if you can, as much as possible from bottled water. And I know lots of people that actually have the big bottles delivered to their home because 너무 무겁잖아요.
Yeah.
So they have them delivered, but maybe not. Don't do that. Microplastics, right?
That's right. And the second thing is rethink tea.
Okay.
Plastic tea bags can release actually 14 billion of microplastic particles. Study shows that.
Yes.
So switch to loose leaf tea with a metal strainer.
Yes, like I said earlier, strainer, very important.
Yeah.
So we talked about drinking tap water instead of bottled water, and then filtering your water if you are drinking bottled water. And then now third, you said avoid the plastic tea bags, right?
Yes,
So
exactly.
what's our next kind of thing that we can do, all of us?
Okay, clean your air. Synthetic fabrics is everywhere. Everywhere.
Yes.
And like a polyester and microfibers indoors.
Yes.
Carpets and things like that. So open windows and vacuum it with a HEPA filter and dust regularly reduce
Important.
yes, airborne particles.
Yes. So that we can do. I know many homes and even offices now that they have the air purifiers with a HEPA filter, right? Okay, what else?
Okay, ditch plastic in the kitchen. Avoid heating food in a plastic container and using plastic utensils. Rather, use glasses and stainless steel and or also bamboo instead. And also cutting board is made of a plastic. So use cutting board made of wood.
Wood, right,
Yes.
right. That transition I have made because ever since I started hearing about microplastics, so I have switched from the plastic, very easy to clean, to wooden cutting boards. So 도마도 네 나무가 낫다네요.
Yeah, we
Yes.
did too. And also choose plastic-free cosmetics. Always check for microbead-free labels on lotions and scrubs. And
Yes.
go for natural products.
And I hear you have one more tip for us.
Okay, synthetic clothes release microfibers in the wash.
Yes.
So when you wash them, catch laundry, use a filter, kind of filter laundry bag, which traps a lot of microfibers.
Oh, they have filtered laundry bags. Okay, that's interesting. That I didn't know about. So something I can look into.
Yeah, these days, really recent cutting edge kind of laundry machines are equipped with this kind of filters.
Wow. So that really does touch upon every aspect of our lives. We have so many people chiming in saying, Leslie saying, I have to give up my Estang cup. And then Tommy saying, I just finished drinking a plastic bottle of tea. Oh, no. Tommy, no. Of course, we try to make the best choices that we can in a given situation. So final takeaway for our listeners, what would you say in a nutshell?
Okay, on the innovation front, microplastics and sustainable packagings are gaining traction, but these break down more safely than traditional plastics. That's promising. Although we cannot avoid microplastic completely, we need to keep ourselves informed, and then small steps make a huge difference.
Yes, yes.
So stay healthy and let's go natural.
Yeah, and be vigilant about our plastic intake. Well, thank you so much for our inaugural segment, Ask Dr. Ryu. And of course, we welcome you back next week. Thank you.
Yeah, thank you.
All right, everybody. It's time to wrap up our number one. Oh, that was such good information, was it not? Let's get to this song. This is Stronger by Kelly Clarkson. I'll be back at 8.
The bed feels warmer, sleeping here alone. I dream in color and do the things I want. You think you got the best of me, think you've had the last laugh, bet you think that everything good is gone. Think you left me broken down, think that I'll come running back. Baby, you don't know me 'cause you're dead wrong. What doesn't kill you makes you stronger. Stand a little taller. Doesn't mean I'm lonely when I'm alone. What doesn't kill you makes a fighter. What's that fever lighter? Doesn't mean I'm over 'cause you're gone. What doesn't kill you makes you stronger, stronger. Just me, myself, and I. What doesn't kill you makes you stronger. Stand a little taller. Doesn't mean I'm lonely when I'm alone. You heard that I was starting over with someone new. They told you I was moving on over you. Didn't think that I'd come back swinging. You tried to break me, but you see what doesn't kill you makes you stronger. Stand a little taller. Doesn't mean I'm lonely when I'm alone. What doesn't kill you makes a fighter. What's that fever lighter? Doesn't mean I'm over 'cause you're gone. What doesn't kill you makes you stronger, stronger. Just me, myself, and I. What doesn't kill you makes you stronger. Stand a little taller. Doesn't mean I'm lonely when I'm alone. Thanks to you, I got a new face. doesn't kill you makes you stronger. Stand a little taller. Doesn't mean I'm lonely when I'm alone. What doesn't kill you makes a fighter.
혹시 지금 운전 중이신가요? 어린이 교통사고 피해자 수는 지난 3년 평균 약 9만 명. 특히 어린이 보호구역 안전기준이 강화된 이후에도 어린이 보호구역 내 사고는 지속적으로 발생하고 있습니다. 스쿨존에서는 반드시 시속 30km 이하 서행, 스쿨존 내 불법 주정차 금지, 차량 출발 전 앞뒤 좌우 살피는 습관으로 어린이가 안전한 도시를 만듭니다. 참! 운전 중 휴대전화 사용은 모두에게 위험합니다. 우리 모두를 위한 교통안전, 나부터 실천하면 모두가 안전해집니다. 어린이가 안전하게 뛰어놀 수 있는 부산. 아이 키우기 좋은 도시는 우리 모두의 미래이자 희망입니다. 이 캠페인은 어린이가 안전한 부산을 만드는 은행, B&K 부산은행과 함께합니다.
Did you know that an average person in South Korea uses more than 10 kilograms of disposable products a year? While convenient, it does weigh heavily on the environment as they take up to 500 years to break down. Here is how we can cut down on disposable products. First, use tumblers and mugs instead of plastic or paper cups. When you go grocery shopping, bring a reusable bag so you won't have to ask for a plastic one. At home, instead of reaching for single-use paper towels or wet wipes, use rags and towels. These small steps for the environment can have a big impact on planet Earth. This campaign was brought to you by BEFM Busan 영어 방송.
The time is now 8 o'clock.
Welcome, everyone. This is hour number 2 of Morning Wave in Busan, and this is Spotlight News. First story, Han Duck-soo to deliver budget speech today. Acting President Han Duck-soo will deliver a budget speech today at the National Assembly, where he's expected to ask lawmakers for bipartisan cooperation to pass an extra budget bill. The speech would mark the first time since 1979 that an acting president will deliver a budget speech at the National Assembly. The acting president is also likely to present the South Korean government's government's stance on U.S. President Donald Trump's recent announcement of tariffs ahead of Seoul and Washington's trade negotiations. There's also tension over whether Han will break his silence on growing speculation that he may run in the June 3rd presidential snap election. Foreign Minister says South Korea won't rush trade talks with U.S. Foreign Minister Cho Tae-yeol said yesterday that South Korea has no intention to hastily wrap up trade consultations with the United States, adding that any talks on renegotiating defense sharing costs should be done via separate channels. Responding to questions at the National Assembly, Cho said that the intent of the meeting is to largely listen to what the U.S. has to say and offer preliminary feedback. During a different event, the foreign minister also said that South Korea's engagement with China aligns with the United States' interests in many ways. And no country wants to see U.S.-China strategic competition become a zero-sum game. South Korea and China hold talks amid tensions over Yellow Sea structures. South Korea and China held a working-level maritime dialogue in Seoul yesterday, diplomatic sources said, as tensions are building up over a set of steel structures Beijing has installed in their overlapping waters in the Yellow Sea. The talks come after the two countries engaged in a standoff in February in the Provisional Maritime Zone known as PMZ near South Korea's southwest coast, when Chinese authorities blocked a South Korean ship from inspecting a steel structure China installed in the area. China insists it was a commercial fish farm that Seoul had no right to search, but the installation is potentially in violation of a previous agreement and has prompted Seoul to address the issue more assertively. Culture Minister to lead condolence delegation to the Vatican. Culture Minister Yoo In-chun will lead the South Korean government's delegation to the Holy See later this week to attend the funeral of late Pope Francis, upon appointment by acting President Han Duck-soo. Meanwhile, thousands of mourners have lined up to pay their respects to the late Pope, whose body is lying in state for public viewing at St. Peter's Basilica following a solemn procession through St. Peter's Square Wednesday morning local time. 3 days of public mourning have begun before the Pope's funeral on Saturday, where at least 250,000 people are expected to attend. Trump blames Zelensky for refusing to accept peace deal. U.S. President Donald Trump has accused Volodymyr Zelensky of harming peace negotiations after the Ukrainian president said Kyiv would not recognize Russian control of Crimea. The U.S. president claimed a deal to end the war, largely negotiated between Washington and Moscow, was close, which apparently will freeze territorial lines close to where they are today, according to Vice President J.D. Vance. President Zelensky immediately shot down the idea, saying that would be against the country's constitution. Ukraine has long said it will not give up Crimea, which was illegally annexed by Russia in 2014. And this was Spotlight News. It's time for Wagle. So Haley's back in the studio with us.
Hello.
Yes, so we're going to start with this one. When you go on an airplane in South Korea, you have to have your power banks or the portable batteries in a separate baggie. This is fairly a new rule, but the environmental fallout apparently so evident already.
We're going to link this right from Dr. Ryu's segment and talk about plastics, plastic bags. So the rule right now for flying, for portable batteries, brought you one.
Yes.
Or battery packs, you can carry up to 5 of these. It's the tiny ones that are under 100 watt per hour per pack. And usually they also need to have the information on the body of the battery.
Okay.
Mine has it like hidden in here.
Oh,
if
that's where it is.
doesn't, you can go onto the manufacturer's website, download that information and print it out. So in the world's tiniest font, it does have the size of the power. But here's the thing. You have to have them either individually. So if you're carrying 5, you need to have 5 bags.
Oh,
because
really?
it's 1 per bag. Or pouches, or have protective caps, or tape over the port. So if you look at mine does have the protective silicone cap over it, but it also has a different type C port that's open. So I would need to tape this part.
I see.
But that involves planning ahead of time. I mean, you're already packing and exchanging money and doing everything. So if you forgot, then the airport provides plastic bags.
Oh, they do.
But let's talk about it. What about the plastic of it all?
I know.
Yeah. So according to Korea Airport Corporation and Incheon Airport Corporation, 13 airports, so this excludes 2 across the country.
Yes.
They have collectively used 96,000 plastic bags per week.
Per week?
That is a single week. 96,000.
Okay.
Let that sink in. Incheon Airport, of course, the busiest in the country, they go through 10,000 bags per day. Kimhae, 10,000 per week. So this, again, number 1, huge environmental issue.
Right.
Number 2, the money.
Yes.
Because someone's got to pay for that. So these bags, the zipped bags, they cost between 16.5 won and 98 won per bag. So I'm just gonna roughly estimate this at 50 won per bag.
Somewhere in the
Let's just
middle.
say
Yes.
50원. 이 플라스틱 백 하나에 50원. That's 4.8 million won per week.
Oh.
일주일에 480만 원, 249 million won per year. 1년이면 2억 4,900만 원.
Wow.
I mean, that's on bags. Plastic bags.
Yes.
And, the longer lasting issue, of course, is the trash. And that figure is expected to spike, let's say, next weekend, where it's a long holiday, or the following weekend, and also summer vacation season coming up. And here's the thing. Will those plastic bags be able to stop this from bursting into fire?
That was going to be my next question. Like, well, is it helping?
Experts say no.
Oh, really?
I'm not a chemist, but plastic can't really stop fire, can it? So one professor of chemistry said these bags fundamentally cannot stop the cause, which is short-circuiting of these batteries. So while the rules did come out of concern and fear, a longer-term solution may be needed. So for the time being, if you're able to, of course, that little piece of tape, if you just plan a minute ahead of time, that could save a lot of plastic, or bring just a cloth pouch is also permissible as well.
Permissible?
It doesn't need to be clear. So
this is important.
You just need to bring it ahead of time. So I'm going to put that right in my bag.
I'm trying to see what's on the bag.
Oh, it's from a museum. It's from the Iksan National Museum.
Oh,
Yeah.
okay.
Yeah.
Much eco-friendly.
Yes.
I mean, yes.
So please.
Plan ahead.
Microplastics.
Yes,
Yeah.
yes. All right, well, there is a long holiday coming up soon, but for people who have been hoping it would be longer, well, they may be disappointed.
Right, so upcoming May 5th and 6th, Children's Day, Buddha's birthday, they are holidays.
Yes.
May 1st, for many people, it's a day off because it's Labor Day. That depends on your country.
Yes.
So May 1st is a Thursday, 5th and 6th following Mondays and Tuesday. That leaves that little Friday, May 2nd.
Personally, I get it off because it's our 학교 개교 기념일.
Ooh.
Oh, sorry. That was too much pleasure from one person. Yes, okay.
I'm not going to be here, so, gloat all you want.
Yes.
But that awkward Friday where
Yes.
many people do need to go to work
Right,
if their
right.
companies were not founded on that day. So some people floated the idea that, hey, if May 2nd were to be a temporary holiday,
Right.
we'd get 6 days off.
Yes.
But I'm here to rain on your parade. The government said they're not looking into this, especially because there's another temporary holiday coming on June 3rd. That's the snap presidential election day. Also, if you remember the last time the government set a temporary holiday during Lunar New Year holiday, there was a lot of pushback saying that this actually didn't do the job it was supposed to, creating domestic demand as a lot of people went abroad.
That's true. That's true. And we have a follow-up from an engineer, aka Tommy. He's our resident engineer. He says, if you cover the charging port perfectly, it can reduce, I guess, like
the short-circuiting?
Short-circuiting. So
there you go. Tape is not only environmentally friendlier. It's still plastic, but it's safer.
Indeed.
I have a question though, Tommy. Does it have to be the black electrical tape, or can it just be Scotch tape?
Yeah, that's a good question.
Yeah.
Because for people like us, like we don't know, right?
Right,
for sure.
Right. Like, do I even have electrical tape?
Find some. Find the black tape. All right. Going back to our topic though, many business owners, for the business owners, these holidays exist like only on the calendar.
It's in theory.
Yes.
Because I do want to ask our 자영업자. When was the last time you took a day off or took a vacation, went on vacation?
Good question.
Because if you own your own business, the people say the upside of having your own business is you get this freedom.
But do you really?
Do you?
I don't know.
It's like I always say freelancers with the italics and the quotations around free.
Yes.
Because there are 170,000 franchise stores that actually don't have a set day of the week off. So 정기휴무일이 없는 franchise. This is according to Statistics Korea and franchise surveys. Almost 63% of all franchise stores don't have a set day off. This excludes holidays, but still. The rate was the highest for convenience stores due to their nature. Many of them do run 24/7.
Right.
99.2% didn't have a set day off. Even a higher rate of convenience stores, almost all of them, 99.7%, worked over 14 hours. That was another question on the survey.
Yes.
81% of cafes and 78% of bakeries also didn't take a day off during the week or at all. Almost 60% of fast food places, pizza, burger, and sandwich stores also just had no days off. Beer places, 57. In terms of hours worked per day, bakeries, dry cleaners, cafes, and school supply or office supply shops also worked longer hours at least 14. On the contrary, though, auto mechanics and medical retailers had a better work-life balance.
Right, but the thing is this, we have to remember that here in South Korea, there's a relatively high ratio of business owners or self-employed people. So this concerns a lot of people, a large segment.
Right, so South Korea's economy is heavily dependent on businesses.
Right.
1 in every 5 employed people are self-employed or own their own business. But this higher figure also means higher competition. So they kind of feel the pressure. Can I afford to take a day off when the business next to me is opening? Exactly.
Yes.
It's like peer pressure. And also the current economy does not help because according to the Bank of Korea, an average earning for a business owner is still lingering at pre-COVID levels at 41.5 million won per year.
I see. Well, thank you for going over the ins and outs of, well, we're probably not getting May 2nd off. And so, it affects too many people. Well, next up, pretty much everyone has used or uses AI assistant, but OpenAI CEO Sam Altman has asked people not to do this one thing. So what is the thing that we're not supposed to do?
And he's going against what my mother told me, is to always say please and thank you. It's like, Sam Altman, take it up with my mom.
I know.
Yeah, and my kindergarten teacher.
People.
Exactly. And I do have a question for our listeners who do use ChatGPT and other chatbots. Raise your hands. Do you say please or thank you to your chatbot? I do. Do you not?
No.
She's sassy.
No.
Look at her with the shoulder.
No.
Really? I mean,
apparently, I'm the only one out of the three.
Okay. I just...
Our producer says, I even say, hi, how are you?
I don't ask, how are you? I say, hi, can you blah, blah, blah. And then okay, because I know it uses data and I always sit there for 2 seconds. I'm like, should I? But I don't feel comfortable not saying thank you. I don't know. When robots take over, they're going to take you first.
I guess the whole idea is this. If you ask nicely, will I get a better answer? It's the whole idea.
And I also said you train them. So I want my assistant to be polite. Yeah, anyways.
Oh, this could be a whole discussion.
It could be.
Waivers. ChatGPT or any AI, do you say, 안녕하세요. 그리고 부탁드립니다. Like, are you nice? 존댓말
그래,
써요?
souvenir님 says, Catherine, what are you going to do when Skynet takes over? That's why I'm nice to the machines.
I'm going to hide behind Terminator. That's what I'm going to do.
Well,
Yes.
all right. So
Yes.
back to news.
Okay,
'cause
sorry.
it's kind of what I do.
Yeah.
Kind of, sometimes.
Kind of.
67% of Americans do say thank you.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
So I'm in the minority.
But here's the thing.
Yes.
You're doing what's better for the environment.
See?
Oh, yeah. Okay.
See?
Okay. So according to OpenAI founder Sam Altman,
Yes.
he was answering a question on social media from a user who asked the same question.
Okay.
Should we say thank you? He said, please don't, because just saying please or thank you, because then ChatGPT has to respond, oh, you're welcome, let me know, blah, blah,
Yeah,
blah.
yeah.
It created, quote unquote, tens of millions of dollars in operational expenses and electricity cost. I mean, he did add, you never know. So that figure, tens of millions of dollars, might be a little bit tongue in cheek.
Right.
But still, it does cost money because AI chatbots rely on highly powered computing systems, computational load, data centers. So they do use massive amounts of electricity.
Yes. Yes. So, Umberto, I see you. Never. Just do it, AI. Work faster is what he says. Yeah. Slave driver. So just how much, though, are we talking about? Because we're talking about, like, lots of electricity here.
Right. So these global data centers that power AI, they already account for 2% of all worldwide electricity computation.
Oh, seriously?
2%. It's
Wow.
huge. So this is according to Goldman Sachs. Each ChatGPT version 4, each question uses about 10 times more electricity than you would on a Google search. Right. And a Washington Post report said that ChatGPT uses 0.14 kilowatt per hour to generate a 100-word email. 100 words is like 2-3 sentences. By the way, 0.1 kilowatt is this. This is getting a lot of use. So
Yes,
a
yes,
full
yes.
phone charge.
Okay.
And by the way, that can also power 14 LED light bulbs for an hour.
Oh.
Converting that to water usage, a large language model uses up to 50 milliliters of water to just say, you're welcome. Yeah.
So don't be nice anymore.
Oh gosh.
Yes.
So again, you might feel guilty, but being polite actually uses up more energy than necessary. But yeah. So
Now we know.
Now we say that to fellow humans, but not to
Yes.
ChatGPT.
Like cats. And Umberto. All right, for our final story, we're going to talk about Pope Francis. As we discussed in our interview yesterday, Pope Francis was famous for being a man of the people, staying very humble and casting away much of that whole like pomp and circumstance, the grandeur of his position. And this latest revelation only adds to this story, right?
Right. So the late Pope Francis, who was held the highest office of the Catholic Church in the past 12 years, left behind a total fortune of $100. There's no thousand or million, it's $100. So it's currency, 14만 원. This is according to an Argentinian site, which also cited celebrity net worth. So then this raises the question, did he not get paid a salary? Are popes not paid? Popes are paid. He wasn't. He refused to. He refused to. So according to the Economic Times, and this is from some years back, popes traditionally receive about $32,000 per month or 45 million won. So that's quite a high salary. This could cover travel expenses and everything. They do travel quite a bit. 추기경, cardinals are paid between $4,700 and $5,900 per month.
Okay.
But Pope Francis, as soon as he was elected Pope, he renounced his papal salary. Basically, I will not get paid because he is a Jesuit, which is an order within the Catholic Church, and they take a vow of poverty, which he took quite seriously. Actually, this was evident during his visit to South Korea some years back because he's a head of state, and we do have 의전, we do have protocol, which includes a very fancy and highly secure sedan of the most expensive. He opted to be taken around in a Kia Soul, which is a mini-size SUV. Right. Not something you would expect the Pope to be taken around in.
Exactly.
Right.
So that just, I think, speaks volumes of his
Sets
character.
examples even after. Yes.
Well, thank you for going over all the woggly news and stop being so polite.
You're welcome.
Yes, but thank you because we're human beings. things.
Thank
We'll check in with you tomorrow. Thank you, Haley.
Bye-bye.
And now it's time for your updated traffic and weather. Let's check out the roads together. There is an accident to report on the Dongseok overpass coming into the city. There's a collision by the old Gaegeum tollgate, and it's always busy there anyway, so it's causing some extra backup. It's congested on Mandakdaero from the Mandak Cathedral to Mandak Tunnel number 2. Also backed up on Chungjangdaero from pier number 5 to pier number 3. And it's looking slow on Yeonsuro from Mangmi Hill to Shili three-way intersection. As for the weather, it's 13 degrees today right now. It's going to go up to 22 today under partly cloudy skies here in Busan. Across the country, you can expect some areas to go up to 26 degrees Celsius. There's still a big gap between the lows and highs, however. Heavy winds with gusts of up to 50 meters per second in some areas. So once again, be careful. And to tie down things that may get blown away, this was your traffic and weather. And this is Dive by Olivia Dean.
I'm a tidal wave of question marks, and you're just surfing, leaning into me like it's an art. It's so crazy lately. You just understand my feelings, make me see I'm capable of flying and feeling beautified tonight. I'm ready to dive. Maybe it's the loving in your eyes. See through. Maybe it's the magic in the wild. I'm feeling blue.
Welcome back, everybody. This is a special interview. Well, according to experts, humanoid robots are becoming as cost-effective as human workers and are expected to start performing physical tasks across various industries within the next 5 years. And we just talked about another part of AI, but in this case, AI is rapidly enhancing their fine motor skills, enabling more precise human-like movements, and in particular, China's humanoid robots are evolving quickly, and from performing traditional dances to even completing half marathons, competing right alongside us human beings. Let's find out more about this. We have invited to the airwaves Professor Lionel Robert, School of Information and Professor of Robotics, College of Engineering at University of Michigan. So let's welcome him first. Hi, welcome to the program, Professor.
Hi.
Yes. So first of all, when we talk about a humanoid or humanoid robot, is this different from traditional or conventional robots that we think of?
Yeah. One of the big differences, regular robots are designed for purely functionality, right? So they could resemble an arm or a cart. But a humanoid robot is designed to mimic human behavior. So the actual body typically includes something like a head, a torso, arms, legs. So they're basically designed with the intent of being more human-like.
Yes, indeed. So can you give us some examples of tasks that humanoid robots are currently performing, like in the real world right now? What are they doing?
So you'll see them in retail stores, hotels, checkout counters, greeting customers. In healthcare, you see them in hospitals.
Yes.
There's even, you see them a lot in disaster recovery operations.
Ah, yes, indeed. So they're actually out there already. And in terms of the types of jobs that these robots could potentially replace, we're talking about replacing human beings, obviously. Do you think that right now that this will be of benefit to humankind in general?
Yeah, I think there are definitely jobs where humans are that are too dangerous, that are very difficult and low pay. So there's definitely a lot of jobs that robots could definitely help out with.
And so the worry is this, though, of course, that human beings will lose jobs because of these humanoid robots. So what's your opinion on this, Professor? Do you think this is true?
So it really depends on one overlying assumption. And so the assumption is that eventually there'll be more humans than jobs. And if that's true, then yes, robots will definitely replace humans in the workplace. However, that's a big assumption, right? There are a lot of industries and a lot of places where according to the demographics, we can expect there to be a lot more jobs than there are actually going to be humans in the next 20 years. And so in that case, they won't be taking jobs from humans. They will be backfilling the jobs humans used to have.
Interesting. Thank you for clarifying that. Well, there was this marathon, the world's first humanoid robot half marathon that took place on April 19th in Beijing, China. And so it seems that 6 out of the 21 robot teams successfully completed the race. But I want to ask you this. What's the purpose of having humanoid robots compete in a marathon? Because I don't know, I as a layperson think like, well, I can see why they're used for certain industries, for dangerous jobs, or for other areas, but why a marathon?
Yeah, it's basically a design challenge because the hardest thing we have with humanoid robots, ironically, is getting them to be stable, to walk, to run, to keep their balance.
Yes.
And so basically, this is like an extreme environment where you can showcase how far the technology has advanced, but also encourage people to advance the technology to meet the challenge.
I see. So maybe to make them even more human-like. So as you say, work out the kinks and balance and whatnot. Well, what about people, generally speaking, we might be used to seeing and using these so-called fixed robots, such as robotic arms, let's say in car manufacturing, or packaging robots that are used in food processing. So people might be asking, we already have robots in the workforce already in certain industries. So why do we need, bipedal humanoid robots? Why should they resemble us? Why are they even testing them out and having them work out all the kinks?
Yeah, that's a great question. And the answer is simply, we have built a world designed for humans, right? There are doorknobs, staircases. Everything we've built has been designed to be accessible by humans. And so unless we want to redesign our environment, which we don't want to do, if we can build robots that are more like human, those robots can more seamlessly integrate into our societies.
Ah, yes. And in terms of any type of, collaboration, do you think that humanoid robots can enhance collaboration between and even among human workers?
Yeah, I definitely do. I mean, robots, have certain attributes so that they can do the same thing over again with a lot of precision. There's a lot of benefits with a robot, and if the robot's more human-like, you can imagine that you can get the same super strength, but you don't have to redesign the actual office, right? Because they can slot right in and do the same work that your coworker was doing.
True.
So there's a lot of benefits.
Yes. I also want to touch upon the whole ethical consideration angle because, the fact that some people just, generally speaking, some people, they just maybe fearful, maybe concerned. And, you see a lot of movies, sci-fi movies that focus on things like, they're going to take over. There's a lot of misinformation out there. So what ethical considerations should people take into account when using humanoid robots in actual, real reality and in real life?
So one of the big issues is the issue of privacy, right? I mean, if you have a coworker and you tell your coworker that you hate your boss, if the coworker's your friend, okay, it could be okay, right? But with a robot, that robot is a camera. It's recording everything you say. So even though they're trying to build to have a rapport and this personal relationship with humans, they're basically a walking camera. So there's a lot of issues of privacy that people just are not aware of.
Yes, indeed. And as we get to our final question for you today, Professor, how do you envision humanoid robots transforming daily life for all of us in the next decade? Because, of course, decades into the future, that's nice, but we want to know, immediately, how's this going to change our lives?
I think it's going to change our life in a big way from mainly home health care. It's going to allow us to live in our home for much longer. To basically, and much cheaper. So thinking about people getting older, they need help. And so these robots can really slot right in and fulfill that. And I think that's going to be the biggest use of these robots in the coming future.
I see. Well, thank you so much for explaining more about these humanoid robots to our listeners. Take care, Professor.
Thank you.
This was our special interview. And, I know some people feel nervous about the whole, humanoid robots. Are they going to replace us? Are they going to take our jobs? But it seems like if we take a page out of the professor's book, what he's saying is that they might be there to actually enhance our performance, to do all the 3D jobs that people don't really want, the dangerous jobs, the dirty jobs. And as he said at the very end about the home healthcare, we're all going to get older someday. And if there's going to be a humanoid robot that's going to help me live in my home longer so that I don't have to go into a nursing home, why not? So at least let's leave that for food for thought. This was our special interview. I'll be back in just a moment. It is time for Vasana. Vasana's back with us. Welcome back, Vasana.
Hello. And I'm on a Thursday instead of a Friday.
I know. Different day.
Feels like Friday, though.
New segment, though.
New segment.
Oh, but not quite Friday.
Not
Let's not
Friday.
get the hopes up of our people.
TGIT.
T, yes. So.
No text topic today, or is that just for Fridays?
No, it's for the presidential election. What do you want the presidential hopefuls? What pledges do you want to see? What do you want to see done?
I would like...
You wanted it. You got it. Now I want an answer. Right now. Right now.
Lower taxes.
Oh. Hey, no one's going to argue with you.
Yeah.
Well, some people might, but I'm not
Free
gonna
lunches.
argue. Free lunches?
Yeah. Lower taxes.
You're just spouting off stuff now. You're just
Yeah.
like, whatever. I'm just going to say whatever that comes to my mind. So what is this segment called? What's it called?
This segment is...
It's called Buzz Breakdown.
Buzz Breakdown.
Yes. Come on, Masana. Get on it. Yes.
It's a Thursday, not a Friday.
Yes, I know. So this is Buzz Breakdown, but what are we going to be doing?
We are going to select 1, 2, or 3 words, 3
Yes.
maximum, or phrases that are popular or common or famous or used often around the world.
Yes.
On the interweb. I'm old, I can say interweb, internet.
And especially news, right?
Yes, especially in the news.
Because we're a news-heavy program, so of course we want to know. Sometimes, like people, they sometimes our waivers are good about asking questions.
Yeah.
Other times it kind of goes by so quickly, and they're like, "Oh, what was that?" And then they miss it, right?
Like many times, my students would just pretend that they know because they don't want to look
silly.
Look a little silly,
Yes.
but I tell them
Understandable.
there are no silly questions.
That's true.
Because I'm the teacher, I have to
Right.
be nice and kind.
Yes, supportive.
Yes, supportive. And then I take those words and I try and explain to you in a not condescending way, in a teaching way.
Yes.
To try and explain to all our viewers out there so that they can understand what's going on in the news.
Well, thank you for explaining our segment. So, what is our first term today?
Today's topic is a big one. So I think we've basically got one and then got subtitles under it,
Sure.
or some sub words under it.
Okay.
So we're talking about DEI.
So that's been in the news a lot. DEI.
DEI.
Uh-huh.
So that stands for diversity.
Okay.
That's the D. Equity, that's the E, and inclusion.
Right. So I'm going to chime in here because I looked up the words in Korean because I'm thinking even if we say diversity, equity, and inclusion to our waivers, they might be saying, what does that mean? So in Korean, that's 다양성, 형평성, and 포용성.
Yeah.
So that's according to, the dictionary.
The dictionary.
Yes.
So I'm going to go a little bit further and hopefully not sound like mansplaining, but I'm going to just dive in and try and explain it. I'm going to Vasana-splain it.
Yes.
So the first one, D, diversity, that's embracing the differences that everyone brings to the table.
Right.
Whether they're someone's race, someone's age, ethnicity, that means where you come from.
Yes.
Religion, gender, sexual orientation, physical ability, or other aspects of social identities.
Okay.
So basically talking about everybody out there, trying to include everybody.
Yes.
Not everybody's the same. We're all different.
Right. So the first D meaning there are different people out there.
Yep.
Everyone's different, right?
Everyone's different.
Okay.
The E stands for equity. Not and as you're explaining, I hope the word in Korean explains it. Not kind of equality.
Equity and equality are different.
Very.
Yes.
Yeah. So equality means to treat everybody the same. So kind of like school exams, one exam for everybody.
Yes.
Equity means giving people what they need to be successful and equal opportunities.
Yes.
I've saw a cartoon once where they had different people and there was a wall. And then they had different people standing on, there was a tall person who could look over the wall.
Yes.
And then there was a shorter person standing on one box who could just see a little bit over the wall. Another person couldn't see over the wall.
At all.
So equity is basically making all those people be able to see over the wall. They have the same, so that they can have the same opportunity.
Well, thanks for explaining it so we have a better idea.
Yeah.
And
finally,
yes,
the I means inclusion, which is basically the result of D and E. So the I means inclusion, making sure everyone feels like they belong.
Okay. That's a concept we can understand,
yes.
right?
So it's respecting everyone's voice and creating a culture in which people from all backgrounds feel encouraged to express their ideas and perspective. So it's great. It would be great to have E and the D, but if nobody likes it in the workplace, if the employer is not encouraging it, then the I will never happen. So the inclusion is making sure everybody feels those two first ones, diversity and equity.
Indeed.
Yeah.
And so this is a hot topic, especially in the U.S. right now.
Especially in the U.S.
It is so hot because, under previous administrations, like DEI was kind of a thing.
Yes.
That was the tenor of government institutions, public institutions, etc.
Yeah.
But, a little bit different now.
Yes.
And I do want to ask, why was it created in the first place, though?
DI was created because marginalized communities, there's another big word, that means all those diversity that I was talking about before, all the different people, marginalized communities have not always had equal opportunities for jobs.
True.
And they have not felt a sense of belonging in the majority white corporate settings. So this was said by Daniel Opong, who's the founder of the Courage Collective. And it's a consultancy that advises, and I might as well put it on the past tense now, that advised companies on DEI.
Yes.
So that is the reason, that is the genesis, that is why those programs existed. It was an attempt to create or try to create workplaces where more or the ultimate, all people can thrive. Not just those.
All people.
Yeah, all people.
Yeah, not old, all.
All.
Yes.
No. My New Zealand pardon?
잘못 들었어요. I heard old, but you meant all, right? ALL. Yes.
All people.
Yes.
Yeah. So is this a good thing or not? Why is DEI in the news now, and why is it portrayed so negatively by the current administration?
Yes.
Because we all look at it and think, okay, that's a good thing. Diversity, equity, and inclusion, why is that not a good thing? So the current US president and many in his political party are criticizing DEI programs, saying it is divisive.
That it's divisive.
Divisive.
Oh, meaning it divides people.
Divides people. It doesn't bring them together. It separates people by race or gender, instead of, and this is the kicker, focusing on skill or ability.
On merit.
On merit. So he's trying to create a meritocracy, which is my next big word.
Yes.
Meritocracy.
So I looked that up in Korean. Meritocracy, according to the dictionary, is 능력주의.
Okay.
So meaning it's based everything on your 능력, everything. Yes.
On your ability.
Abilities, yes.
So can you imagine if they replaced me with somebody who had zero experience, who was 19 years old, just came from wherever. That is not hiring on merit. That's hiring because of other reasons. And the current administration is saying that because of the DEI, they're able to do that. They can just hire anybody because of their race, ethnicity, religion. So they're turning it around. They're putting a different spin on it.
I see.
Rather than what it was, the spirit of why it was created in the first place.
Like was this person, was he hired only because of his, for example, skin color rather than his abilities?
Correct.
Okay.
Yeah, that's what they're saying. So he says meaning the current US president, wants to hire, I can't do the voice, I can't hire the best people, not based on race or gender. So they also call this movement anti-woke.
So now we got to get into the whole woke conversation.
Yes, again.
Yes.
So in the past, woke meant socially aware.
That's kind of like the original meaning.
Yeah, and that is still the meaning, but in most dictionaries, means you're aware of all the things that are happening around you.
깨어 있는 사람, but not awake like 잠에서 깨어난 게 아니라
No.
like you're socially aware. 인종차별 등의 문제 의식을 갖고 깨어 있는 것을, that's what we sometimes like in the past, I guess some people would say like politically correct, and it kind of evolved into woke or wokeness, right?
Correct.
Yes.
So that's what I was going to say. It's often used politically, and hence the politically correct thing.
Yes.
But it's not. Yeah, it's not quite that. But that's a different story. I'll talk about that on a different day. But
okay.
Some people see woke as a good thing. And
others do not, though.
Others do not.
Because we want to give like all different angles.
Correct.
We don't want to say it's this or that.
Yeah.
Some people don't like this whole wokeness.
No.
Yes.
So anti-woke means being against ideas like DEI.
Yes.
Like sensitivity training, which a lot of people were fired from in the past administration because they refused to do it.
Sure.
And gender neutral language, which even I was struggling with over the last 4 years, all the new words that were coming up.
Right.
Like they and them instead of he and her.
And she.
She.
Yeah.
So that was, So I'll leave my opinion for another day.
Yes.
So this debate is happening in schools, companies, courts, basically wherever people are getting employed,
Sure.
are employed. So in 2023, 2 years ago, the U.S. Supreme Court ended affirmative action. So this is part of DEI.
Yes.
It's not all of DEI. It's part of DEI. Affirmative action in college admissions that helped underrepresented groups.
Yes.
So even New Zealand had a bit of this when I was young, but we just didn't call it that. So you have a quota, and then you must get people from different races.
Yes.
And this, I was sort of against that because people who did not have the grades were getting into university, even though because of and this is what the current administration was pointing to.
I'm of that era too.
Yeah.
I was competing against, it felt like, and then now it's been kind of proven that, in America, for certain universities, you're competing against people of your own, kind of ethnicity or from the same region because of affirmative action.
Yes.
And I'm not saying affirmative action is bad altogether. I'm just saying for college admissions, it was a thing. Yeah. There was a lot of discussion during our era.
With all administrations, what you... not tell them how to do their job.
Yes.
What they should do is there are big good and bad things in every policy.
Yes.
So they should have looked at it, taken the good, and then tried to tweak the bad.
I see.
To try and improve the program rather than just squash it all together. My 5 cents worth.
I see. So what else should we know about this whole DEI discussion? So we talked about things like DEI.
Yeah.
We talk about kind of the woke culture, the anti-woke as well. So where does it take us to next?
So there's one more word I want to introduce our listeners to.
Yes.
And that word is dark woke.
Dark woke? What is that?
So this is used to describe a kind of aggressive, progressive politics. So it's still on the left.
Okay.
But it's not the usual. The left is usually kind of quiet about it. They're passive aggressive.
Yes.
They don't go out and throw things in the windows, unlike what everybody believes. It's loud, confrontational, and proud. So you might hear it in discussions used about activism and especially online, dark woke. So remember when Michelle Obama said, I can't do her voice either, made a speech that went, when they go low, we go high. Yeah.
Yes.
So dark woke is when they go low, we go lower.
I looked up dark woke to kind of try to better explain also, and it's like being woke but with a mean streak.
Mean streak, yes.
Yeah, it's kind of the best way to describe it.
So basically, if one side is always fighting dirty and changes the rules all the time, there's no way you can compete with their rules, with your normal rules. So you have to use their rules to fight them. So anyway, shall we just recap?
Yeah, absolutely, because we want to go over the terms because there was a lot to unfold today, some difficult ideas, right?
Yep.
So first we had DEI, right, which stands for what?
It stands for diversity, equity, and inclusion.
Indeed. And then we had meritocracy. Yes, we did.
Meritocracy, which is a society which promotes those who, in easy words, get the good grades.
Right.
Those who have the high grades.
Yes.
And you promote those who work hard, not those who don't work hard. Yeah.
And then we had woke.
Yeah.
This is such a hard concept sometimes to describe, but I think you did a good job trying to explain the full picture.
Basically aware, socially aware.
Socially aware. Yeah. And then we have the anti-woke.
Anti-woke, which
that's like the opposite.
Opposite of that, the dark matter.
Yes.
Which is dark woke, and that's the last one. When they go low, we go lower.
Yes,
Actually, fighting by their rules would be a more excellent way of explaining it.
Sure.
Yeah.
Well, in terms of all of these ideas and this new segment, I like the fact that we're focusing on words that kind of might go over the heads for some of our listeners that we're kind of breaking them down, and hopefully we can give a broader picture into the words that appear in news and, of course, in everyday life as well. So I do want to say thank you so much.
Thank you.
I love it. It's called, once again, Buzz Breakdown. We're breaking down the buzzwords. Yes. We got to get used to all the names. Well, we'll definitely check in with you next week. Thank you, Vasana.
Thank you, Kat.
All right. Well, for you, the listeners out there, it has been, of course, a full Thursday here on Morning Wave in Busan. And as usual, I want to thank you, the listeners, for tuning in, chiming in, and also to our staff, always working hard behind the scenes. We have our new producer, Choyeji. We have our writers, Haley and Sue. And of course, I'm your host, Catherine. I'll be back to do it all over again tomorrow. TGIF on the way. Okay, final song is this, Bravo My Life by 봄, 여름, 가을, 겨울. So have a good day. Bye, everybody.
집으로 향한 걸음뒤에 서툴게 살아왔던 후회로 가득한 지난 날 그리 좋진 않지만 그리 나쁜 것만도 아니었어 성향도 없는 저녁 내일 하루도 흐리겠지 힘든 일도 있지 드넓은 세상 살다 보면 하지만 앞으로 나가 내가 가는 곳이 길이다 낫겠지 그런 작은 희망 하나로 사랑할 수 있다면 힘든 1년도 버틸 거야 일어나 앞으로 나가 네가 가는 곳이 아름다운 날개를 펼쳐라